We can believe things at our core, but are we acting at them on our core, right? Are we acting on them? Are we actually taking action? Are we actually becoming activated and making change or trying to make change? When we are believing, making things happen, actually attract resources. So focusing on resources at the get-go isn't necessarily what you need. What we need to do is focus on the authenticity of what we're trying to achieve. Vani, we always have doubt whether our opinion matters or not, and sometimes we think that our social status might hinder us from making change. How do we overcome this? Vani, great point. Let's take a look at the case for Malala. Social change is different from business. In business, our social status matters. In business, our achievements matter. In business, our grades matter, right? But social change is about authenticity and genuineness and the true belief in a cause. If you look at anyone having massive change today in those spaces, they may be coming from business and making change. That's awesome, right? They've already established themselves in another industry and now they're bringing that to something that they care about. But if you look at grassroots level change in any area, it's coming from people who don't have degrees in that area, who don't have a background in that area, who haven't made money in that area, but they care about it. And that's why an authentic program of change, not just speaking about stuff, not just writing about stuff, but actually creating small groups of change, small pockets of change, activating individuals to start making a difference. That's something that everyone can connect with. That's something that attracts attention. So when you're doubting your opinion or whether your opinion matters, recognize you're probably right. Most of our opinions don't matter. Everyone has an opinion. If I share something about Standing Rock today, so many people around us will have an opinion. The reason why people think you either have to be spiritual or financially successful is because they think, well, if you're going down the spiritual path, money can be a distraction, or if you're going down money, then spirituality will distract you. And that is true. That is real. Like, you can get really materialistic trying to be spiritual.
Sure.
And you can become distracted from your materialism by being spiritual. That is true, but the goal of life is to live in that paradox, like in that middle point of trying to figure it out. So I often say to people, like, I don't consider that and I know we both feel this way, we haven't figured it out, we don't know everything about everything, but I'm trying to toggle with that because I believe that the truth is in the middle. The truth isn't in the either or. That's part of the journey of a genuine change maker, a positive change maker, a motivator, is remembering that you're doing this for you and to serve. It's not for wanting something back, right? Part of this journey of connecting with others, sharing with others, is to recognize that your reward is in the motivating. It's not through something that person has to come back and do for you. You'll find in your life many people that you've served and helped that won't come back to do the same, but you'll notice there'll be other people who'll come back and do the same for you. Recognize we're always in that journey. People are helping us in ways that we've never helped them. We're helping others in ways that they've never helped us. That's how the world goes round. That's how it works, right? Just accepting that really, really helps us. Anima, how can we motivate our loved ones in being enlightened in a spiritual path? Spirituality is hard to motivate people by. They'll be more motivated by a change in your behavior than they will through your sharing of what it is. And I've noticed that more in spirituality than anything else. When someone comes back and starts telling you to practice spirituality, etc., it can be quite scary. It can be, oh my God, what kind of change is required? And often the hardest thing about that is that they don't notice a change in behavior in the individual propagating spirituality. So for any spiritual practitioners out there, the main key is seeing a change in your behavior. Your example will carry it much further. If you make a long list of the stuff you need, you'll spend so much time trying to get that stuff to get started that most people never get started. That's actually one of the biggest challenges. When you're getting started, get started with creating something rather than getting started with a list of what you need to create something bigger, right? Start with something. It's called an MVP in technology, right? A minimum viable product. Come up with something minimum viable, something that works. You don't need to be a perfectionist. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just get something moving, right? Get a model moving that allows people to see what you're trying to create. Another example I wanted to give was a lady called, well, a young girl, 19 years old at the time, called Brittany Wenger. She was at that time Time's 30 people under 30 making a massive change in the world. She created a computer system to detect leukemia, and it was being tested across the world, 99% accurate, but that's what she created. And it's incredible because her drive, again, was to help people, right? So the key thing we find here is that when you want to help people, that's what drives you. And then you're not worried about these resources. And an incredible conversation that I recently heard about was between someone who asked Mother Teresa a question, right? They asked her a question. She was asked, what was your fundraising strategy? Right? Mother Teresa was once asked, what was your fundraising strategy? Her response was, and this is mind-blowing, her response was, I just pray. Whatever I get is what I need, right? When Mother Teresa was asked, what is your fundraising strategy? She said, I just pray. Whatever I get is what I need. She had so much belief, so much conviction, so much depth, genuineness, and authenticity in her intention that drove her work, that she had faith and belief that it would attract what it needed. Right? It attracted the right kind of focus. It attracted the right kind of support. And that's why when we're so rooted in our why, when we're so rooted in the change we're trying to make, that takes away the challenge, that takes away the incredible reach as to how far we feel things we are, right? The things that we think we need that feel so far away almost don't even bother us anymore because we know what we can start with right now.
I tend to become very, very scared of losing people, friends, people I love, parents as they grow, and so forth. And I live in that constant fear. So how do you overcome that?
Often we live at the other extreme. So the other extreme is we never think about them. And then when they go, we feel heartbroken that we didn't care. And then you're on the other end where you think about them too much, where now that anxiety is overwhelming and it's painful. So what we have to do is we have to transform that fear into action. We have to transform that fear into love. And the way you do that is every time you feel that, you create a habit, you create a practice around how you're going to show that person love. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and there are some that I wish I could change, and there are some that I'm really glad that I can't change. And what I've realized more and more and more is that when you try and avoid mistakes, you often make worse ones than when you just allow things to flow. And so what I would encourage everyone to do is give yourself the permission. It's not society, it's no one else, it's us giving ourselves the permission that it's okay if I don't know everything. And it's okay if I don't understand everything. Because if I never try, I will never know and I will never understand. If I tried to be perfect, I would never have put out my first video. If I tried to be perfect, I wouldn't have a podcast. If I tried to be perfect, I would never have released a book. If I tried to be perfect, I would not be here today. Because the desire for perfection blocks you from progress, your potential, your passion, and your purpose. So let go of perfection. It doesn't exist. We're all far from perfect.